Hey, part 2. So I did a video like this a few weeks ago. One of the up-and-coming rising leaders said, hey, you have to do these kind of videos in order to work the social media game. So here's part 2. The first one got a lot of attention. So part 1 was why I believe California should be a nation and what happened to me when I was growing up to get there. Part 2 is going to be more of that because people seem to really like that and a lot of controversy. I need to say, yes, there are professional videos. I wear a suit. I talk facts. In social media, if you want people to know who you are, you have to show them what you look like behind the scenes, regular cash. So this is that. You have to do both for people to buy you. No, I'm not degrading the product or the movement. You have to do this to get people to buy you. It's the way the social media game works. And it worked. Someone said, make this video talking about who you are, dress down, like get real. And it'll cause controversy. And it worked. People came out of the woodwork who never talked to me and started giving their opinions. So here we go. Part 2, why I do CalExit. So part 1, you heard about a little bit of my background. Part 2 is more of that. So here's a couple more things I noticed. Last time I talked about my mom, this time I talked about my dad. Now, when I was growing up, one of my mom's favorite stories to tell about my father was when he took my mom and my tia, that means aunt, over to Tejas to go visit the relatives, right? So he had just gotten out of the army. He was a vet, and he thought he could beat up anybody. And he took my mom and my tia Elena, and they went over to Tejas to visit relatives. So here's this white dude, blonde hair, blue eyes, pale skin, with 2 Mexicans. It's that 1970s, right? And so they go to Texas, and they're hanging out there, and then they're leaving, and they get hungry. They want to go eat a pizza. So they go to this pizza place, and they go into the pizza place in Texas in the 70s, and the guy says, we don't serve no Mexicans here. So my dad got mad, the white dude. And he jumped over the counter of the pizza joint and pushed the guy out of the way, put money on the desk, and then began to make a pizza. And people asked him what he do. He said, it's a pizza business. We're customers. You got paid. We're eating a pizza. And they go, well, we'll get people here. And he said, go ahead and get them. And for a few minutes, they were just like, what? More people came. He baked that pizza. My mom and my aunt, they grew up in Texas. They were terrified. They knew what white people there do. My dad didn't. He was from Cali. So they didn't get to eat the pizza. The pizza got just close to being baked, and there was a bunch of people coming outside because they'd never seen no white boy stand up for Mexicans in Texas like that. And my mom and my tia convinced my dad it was time to leave, but not after 20 minutes of a damn near Western showdown type shit. And I always remember that story. So there was racism, and my father just exploded on their ass the way a Californian does today. But he did it 43 years ago. Why? Oh, he's white, but he grew up here. My mom grew up in Texas. My dad grew up in California. My dad grew up around Mexicans. My dad grew up around Asians. My dad grew up in a diverse community. My white relatives in Texas are nice, but you already heard about some of the stuff over there. So that's part of the difference. Here's another story. It ain't just white people. It's not that we're better, it's that we're more exposed to diversity here. My one African-American friend from high school, yes, I don't go around doing, my one friend said that. I had one friend I was really close to. He was African-American in high school. I knew other African-Americans. This guy was my best buddy because he was a Star Trek nerd like me. So if you were in Star Trek, I was buddies with you. If you weren't, I wasn't. So anyways, he's here. He grew up here, born, raised, and he gets the opportunity to go to an HBCU. historical black college and university. He's really excited, super thing. All his family's super excited. He's going to go. Big moment. So he goes over there, and everybody's proud. Right on. Get out there. Go do your thing. Super proud. And he's there for a year. And then I get a phone call. And he's like, Marcus, can I ask you a question? I'm like, sure. What's going on? And he goes, I'm here in Atlanta. Big city. And I want a burrito and I can't find one. I'm like, what do you mean? He's not there. They don't sell burritos out here. If they are, they're garbage. I want a real burrito. I'm like dying for a burrito. So here's an African American dude from Cali going nuts because he can't get a burrito in Atlanta City. Big metro. Don't have what he needs. So he goes, I asked my fellow African Americans in the community. And they looked at me like, why do you want a burrito? And he goes, so I drove around town and I found the Mexican part of town. And I found a burrito restaurant. But I'd never been, and people are acting weird. So I asked more of my African American friends here in Atlanta, like, hey, I found this burrito joint. Do any of you know if that's a good place to get a burrito? Because I'm dying for a burrito. And they looked at him like, why the fuck are you going to the Mexican side of town? What do you have to do with those people? And why do you want a burrito at all? So my buddy's calling me like, what's going on? Like, they're looking at me like I'm a weirdo for wanting a burrito. And I go, Russ, you're from California. They're not. Over there, it's a stark divide. The African American community, the non-African American community, and integration between the two, and Atlanta has been moving up. But what you don't talk about is Asians and Arabs and Muslims and all sorts of that other stuff that we got here in California. So you're a California boy. You grew up here. You like Mexican food. You dated Asian women. And then you went to Atlanta where they're like, there's two, there's white and black. And you're from Cali where there's this. That's why they're looking at you weird. You're from California.